Hi, I'm Jamie Jones and this is F-Bomb. The F stands for film and also I swear a lot. Do you remember when the Wayans brothers used to be funny? Me neither! Actually, that's not fair. I really didn't mind Scary Movie. It wasn't the sharpest parody ever, but it definitely had some parody in it. And I definitely laughed at some of the jokes. But it probably only found success because this kind of on-the-nose smack-you-over-the-head parody hadn't really been done before. It was a one-off unique take on horror films. Or so we thought. But as the Scream sequels kept being pumped out, so did the Scary Movies. This led to offshoots of the brand. Epic Movie, Disaster Movie, Meet the Spartans, The Starving Games. By this point, the Wayans brothers themselves had grown far too sophisticated for this kind of chicanery, preferring instead to work on beloved classics, White Chicks, Little Man, and 50 Shades of Black. Believe me, I could write a whole essay on the In Living Colour Guys' descent into cinematic lunacy. And I might. But Date Movie has nothing to do with their talentlessness. Rather, the talentlessness of 2 of the 6 writers of Scary Movie, namely Jason Friedberg and Aaron Seltzer. Now, some people have called them the worst comedy writers to ever work. Let's see if they're right. This is Date Movie. We start with our protagonist Julia Jones, played by... oh no. Alison Hannigan? The love of my life? No! Why? Why? And why is the very first parody in this supposed take on rom-coms Napoleon Dynamite?
Gosh!
You can't get away with that just because it was a dream sequence. It had nothing to do with anything and it wasn't even slightly funny. Was that really your best foot forward? Jesus, this is going to be rough. Speaking of rough, I guess this is supposed to be repulsive. Because she's fat? Fat Alison Hannigan is still Alison Hannigan. She could be a radioactive blob of goo and she'd still be too good for these jack-offs. And just so we're clear on what kind of a movie this will be, in the first 5 minutes we have fat gags, gay gags, and racist gags. This leads us into... actually not a bad joke. Ripping on the big fat Greek wedding motif of keeping up cultural traditions, we have a white daughter, a black father, an Indian mother, and a Japanese sister. And they're all Jewish. Alright, that's pretty funny for a one-off gag. The problem is, this is one of the few jokes in the film that's allowed to have continuity. And while it would have been fine to use the joke as a foundation for funny characters, they're just not. They're there for that laugh alone and then they're trapped in the movie. And every second of screen time they have after it quickly kills the joke like a pun on a bumper sticker.
Pick up! Pick up! Pick up!
Haha! Slapstick! Laugh! Next up we have a Hitch parody, and it turns out the dating consultant is a little person. Hope you found that funny, because that's the joke. To my surprise, we have another funny gag.
Look at all the couples I'm responsible for. You got Brad and Jen, Jessica and Nick, Ben and Gwen, Ben and Jen, Ben and Jen, Ben and Matt.
But then it just keeps going.
Whitney and Bobby, Kobe and Shaq, Ellen and Ann. Yeah, I do them too.
This is a huge problem with Wayans-style parodies. Even when they do have a good idea for a joke, they have no clue how to execute it with precision. So it just drags and drags and drags. Or, like in this case, they'll make random callbacks to it. What the fuck did that have to do with the scene? Anyway, they decide Julia needs a makeover. Cue gross out gags.
Freak out, baby. Let me see you get nasty, man. You know what I mean? The one below the waistline. Let's go. Let's go.
Hey! Wait, what was that last joke? That wasn't gross, it was just weird. Oh, are they trying to make a point about human technology hybrids? Well, it's gone in the next scene, so I'm guessing no. Was that a joke? Do I not know what a joke is anymore? No, it's the film that is wrong. Now she's hot, Julia can go on a reality dating show and holy coincidence, Batman! The Bachelor is the guy she flirted with / gave a concussion to earlier in the movie. Carefully planned plot point? or lazy contrivance? You decide. His name's Grant, by the way. Like Hugh Grant. Yeah, you get it. And he's played by Adam Campbell. Now, back in '06 when this came out, reality TV ruled the world. There were parodies everywhere, and very few of them missed the point because the flaws of reality television are numerous and blatant. Let's see how Date Movie handled it. For fuck's sake, I've seen Minecraft Let's Players improvise better parody than that.
Max, I'm sorry, we can still be friends.
Foolish harlot! You've made a terrible mistake. I was going to grant you a swift and painless engagement.
Julia gets chosen, of course, because she's Alison Hannigan, and the pair win
Dinner for two at a restaurant.
A restaurant?
See how that joke was funny? Yeah, that's because I edited it down. In the original, they build it up for so long that you can see the punchline coming from a mile away. No, 10 miles away. No, a continent away. After dinner, they bond over beating up a homeless person? I'm not opposed to using violence for comedy so long as it's done right. This is exactly what I mean by these movies having poor execution. A good parody might have made these two assholes right from the beginning, not only justifying their behaviour, but also strengthening their chemistry, and making a point about the overly romanticised characters you normally find in rom-coms. As is, it's just some out-of-nowhere cruelty for a cheap laugh. And if that wasn't painful enough, now the Meet the Parents section of the film begins. Now, to give them some benefit of the doubt, parodying comedy isn't easy to do. But to take that benefit right back again, they didn't even fucking try. Every single joke they make is just a rip-off.
How do you pronounce it?
Just how it's spelled. Fockyer.
Fuck your daughter?
Growing up on a farm, I once milked a cat.
I got nipples, Grant. Can you milk me?
It's not clever, it's not subversive, it's not making a point about the original material, it's certainly not funny, it's just fucking theft. The dinner scene was a disaster, and I'm not just talking about the plot, so Julia and Grant tried to work things out. And here's where the writers gave up. They just gave up.
My family is totally controlling. They meddle in every aspect of my life. Not to mention, no one in our family has ever dated outside of our culture.
If that just doesn't encapsulate what's wrong with this entire film. No, actually, this entire franchise. They're not concerned about their characters or their plot or their parodies. From the very first scene, they weren't even concerned about sticking to the theme of their fucking film. Care? Effort? That would just hurt their poor brains. So long as they're referencing something, they couldn't give a shit about quality or the audience. Grant proposes to Julia, and you know what? If the writers aren't going to bother with the plot, then neither am I. Grant takes Julia to the set of the next terrible joke, and Hannigan's fellow Buffy alumni, Tom Lenk, shows up as Frodo, returning the One Ring to the jewellery store. Ring, jewellery... Fuck it, it's as good a connection as this film's ever going to give me, so I'll take it. Big shock, this Lord of the Rings sketch doesn't work. Not because it's a random fantasy parody in the middle of this supposed rom-com parody, but because it's clear the writers haven't actually seen Lord of the Rings, given that Gandalf appears to be playing the role of Gollum.
My precious.
The parody has moved on to Meet the Fockers, and we get the film's best joke.
How come you have Betty's baby? She's at a swingers convention this weekend, so we said we'd take care of him.
Oh, how nice.
See, that works. Deadpan delivery, minimal build-up, and it's not drawn out. Maybe it's just a fluke, and honestly, I kind of hope it is. Because if we could have been getting decent comedy from these writers, and the whole time they've been giving us this dreck...
What happens when someone rats us out to the cops? Shiv 'em in the kidney.
We've all been cheated. We now meet Grant's parents, played by the go-to good comedians who inexplicably keep being cast in shitty movies, Fred Willard and Jennifer Coolidge. They are shameless carbon copies of Dustin Hoffman and Barbara Streisand in Meet the Fockers, and that is all I have to say about them. Grant then takes Julia to meet his best man, Andy, but uh-oh, Andy's a woman! And a sexy woman at that. Wanna know how I know she's sexy? Not because of the gold bikini, not because of the slow-mo, not because she's dripping wet, not because... duh, but because the word sex is literally played over her footage. Okay, there's on the nose humour, and then there's inside the eyeball humour. She proceeds to change in front of them, which is an issue for Julia for some reason, even though she must have already changed in front of them at some point to go from gold to black and back to gold. While wedding dress shopping, Julia has a what women want moment.
I can hear everyone's thoughts.
I love Puerto Rican men. They're spicy.
It's like I'm trapped in a bad Mel Gibson movie.
Bad? Okay, yeah, it is bad, but that's a bit pot and kettle of you, isn't it, date movie? Anyway, Julia finds out that Andy wants to sabotage her wedding, so it immediately transitions into a Kill Bill bit and... oh my god. Alison Hannigan as the bride. Okay, date movie, I take it all back. That shit is hot. Or I would take it back if you didn't somehow manage to suck all the fun out of that by making it, as per usual, way too long and not at all funny. On the day of the wedding, Julia sees Andy kissing Grant, and even though she knows that Andy wants to sabotage their day, she still leaves Grant. This stupid misunderstanding trope doesn't work when it's played straight, so this should be ripe for parody. But they play it straight! It's like the writers don't have any clue what they should be making fun of. Same with the gifts flooding her apartment. No joke about how he's a creepy stalker that broke into her place. Same with the boombox, played completely straight. Earlier on in the film, it was established that their mutual favourite song was Candy Shop. How much funnier would that have been?
I take you to the candy shop. I let you the lollies drop.
Ugh, I'm bored and annoyed. Let's just wrap this up. It transpires that Grant has been waiting on a rooftop for her for 6 months, and Julia goes to him, leading to actually quite a well-edited gag. But they had to ruin it somehow, and they fall back on the old standard. Dragging it out until I want to fucking kill myself.
He's mine!
They eventually get back together, of course, get married, and Julia quits her waitressing job to become a pastry chef. Wait, was that supposed to be a major plot thread? It was only mentioned briefly about an hour ago, and it wasn't played for a laugh or anything. I think we're actually supposed to give a shit about her career. Well, I don't. Whatever, they're riding off into the sunset, she said,
And we lived happily ever after.
so it's over.
But not before we went on our honeymoon to romantic Kong Island.
What? No, movie, what are you doing? You're over. Stop. You've been going on for like an hour and 10 minutes? Are you fucking shitting me? Well, no wonder you're dragging it out with stupid joke after stupid joke after stupid joke.
Hey, is it too late for one more parody?
Yes, fuck off already! After what feels like an eternity, but is actually less than an hour and 15 minutes, the damn thing finally ends. In my opinion, good parody movies should have some kind of internal logic. Take Young Frankenstein and Airplane as examples. While Date Movie isn't always consistent, there are threads that run throughout. They don't forget that Julia used to be fat, and Grant's accent is kept British, and the multicultural family isn't forgotten. The only problem with that, as I mentioned before, is that every time a joke is brought back, the humour diminishes. And it's not like it was that funny to begin with. But having seen what these people are capable of, I maintain you could do worse. But that's not enough to give this movie a passing grade. It's painful, it's slow, and the parodies, especially of the Meet the Parents series, are so bad they sometimes border on plagiarism. If you've liked any of the other movies in this franchise, I don't know what about this one is going to turn you away from it, but the same is true in reverse. If you don't like any of the other movies, you're not going to like this one either. Thanks for watching, I've been Jamie Jones. Join me next week when I'll be looking at this film. See See you next Tuesday, fuckers!